Okay, we're good. I think we're coming up.
Can you see all the lint that's on me?
Hi, welcome back to another edition of Relatable. I am your host, Stephanie Michelle. This is the show where we talk about exceptional human encounters, the people who make them happen, and the actions that it takes to create them. So in the last week, since we've had a show, I have been reflecting a lot about healing. My own personal healing, the journey that I've been on. My friends are going through some healing right now. And of course, all the things in the world that I believe need some healing around. And unlike a physical wound that has a clear beginning and an end with the scar that it leaves, emotional healing just doesn't work that way. It's fluid. It evolves as you allow it to. Sometimes it's on hold. Sometimes it gets kicked open when you're not prepared to deal with it. And sometimes when your eyes and your heart are open, it flows through you like a spiritual stream of fresh spring water that leaves you feeling lighter, loved, and a part of something that you can't really describe. Healing is a choice, one that requires a lifetime commitment. It is not an easy road, but it's a road that has the most beautiful discoveries along the way. If you're on a healing journey right now, or you're starting to think about tapping into something, I just want to say thank you for your pursuit. I really appreciate you. And here's why. I think as we struggle in our communities and in global issues to find solutions that help people, just all people, not a select few, all people, I believe it's absolutely crucial for us to have a relationship with healing, to support each other's relationship with healing, and encourage our leaders to embrace their own. It's not a sign of weakness to show that you need some help and you need some healing around something. It's actually a sign of strength to reach out and say, hey, I'm vulnerable here and I need some help. There's resources everywhere. So I know my guest today knows firsthand the power of compassionate healing and probably has more stories than we have time to hear, but we're going to get to know her today as much as we can. So joining me today on the couch is Felecia Lenee Williams, aka V-Love. She is on the leadership team for CompassionateCalifornia.org, Emerging Arts Leaders in Los Angeles, and co-founder of the Compassionate Arts in Action. She also works as a youth program director and creative strategist for the national project Post for Peace and Justice. Felecia is the host and creator of the Artist Eclectic Playground, a pop-up event space that supports new as well as established artists and innovative entrepreneurs, primarily in Pasadena and the greater Los Angeles area. Felecia has a B.F.A. from CALARTS, where she trained as an actress. She works with youth on health, public safety, and social environment justice projects. Felecia has participated in the March for Our Lives, Youth Action Summit, the U.S. Human Rights Network National Conference, and the 26th anniversary of the American Disabilities Act at the White House. She has been in 16 films, has over 25 years of performing live on stage as a host and an entertainer, and several podcasts promoting racial, gender equality and justice for all.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Do you like hearing your bio?
Yes.
Isn't it weird, like sitting next to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa,
That's me.
That is me. Yeah.
That's me.
Oh, wow.
Well, welcome to the show. I say, so I get to kind of rant and just kind of share a little bit at the beginning, so I always want to give the guest an opportunity. So is there anything pulling your attention right now that you're just like, yeah, I just want to put this out right now before we get into it?
Talking about the environment and how we need to how environmental justice is a social justice issue. And not just as we're looking at the ecosystems, but how can we use the environment to heal?
Yeah.
And the garden that I go to, the Arlington Gardens in Pasadena, it's a great space, and taking that place has helped me heal. I was paralyzed from the waist down. I think that's how we started this conversation.
Yeah.
And I walked the labyrinth, and using that to find compassion within for myself, to bring compassion out into the communities. So environment, sustaining this world.
Do you feel like it's all connected?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was listening to some podcasts, and I apologize, I don't remember the name, but the concept of the earth as a living organism.
Yeah.
Just recently I portrayed Mother Earth in hospice, and it was very jarring for those that come in, because I would cry and I would say, they're killing me with these insecticides and pesticides and the Monsanto seeds. And I was like, no plastic, I can't do plastic. And I would kick the water bottle and ask for a glass bottle, and just sitting there crying. I was like saying, I need your help. How can you help me heal? And what happened was this created visual literacy. And so I was in residence with Side Street Projects, and they allowed me to facilitate these conversations, and Mother Earth and Hospice really resonated with the community. Fortunately, our city council member and mayor-elect, Tyrone Hampton, came out, and he actually helped me come out of hospice. He said he would help Mother Earth. So that's my play right now, is using that.
Yeah. So I want to hear how well, this is the first time we're meeting, and,
Right.
and as soon as she walked in, it was just like light and energy in the room, and my experience just getting to talk to you and kind of planning for this, I'm like, you're doing stuff. Like I had to give you this title warrior, and I've never met you, and I'm like, I know she's a warrior. Like, she's constantly doing. What can you tell me about your childhood that kind of led to this person, this adult that you are right now, and the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so what it doesn't say is that I'm a native of Detroit.
Girl, I'm from Flint.
What?
Yeah.
What? All right. So we got so much in common. My mom worked in Flint.
For GM or?
No, for Department of Social Services.
Yeah.
And so my mom was a social worker, and my dad was a minister, and so they produced a perfect child. We laugh at that, right?
Yeah.
He was like,
well, we can talk about it. But
yeah. But growing up, and then I moved to Saginaw, Michigan.
I know Saginaw.
I know, Sag Nasty.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
And basically, growing up, it was challenging because I actually lived on the west side, and I commuted back and forth to the east side and west side. And
Yeah.
Michigan is very segregated. Like, it's still segregated by the tracks. And so I went to school on the west side, and then I went to a theater program on the east side, downtown, and I got a chance to experience continuous learning. It was a part school where you get a chance to see people who are kicked out of school. I was always fascinated. I wanted to talk to him. There was this one guy, his name was Point Blank. He had tattoos in his face, and he was trying to talk to me. I was trying to talk to him. We know I really wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate him. There was another guy. His name was Jamil, and he was 15. He had twins, and I was just wanting to talk to him. Everybody was afraid of him, but I just wanted to talk to him, and they helped me in such a space that it wasn't like we were trying to date. They became my friends. Yeah. And I had protection, but they covered me like with love.
I wondered, so I feel compelled to ask you this question. I'm also very curious about people. I'm just curious. I'm naturally curious. I wonder if this is a Michigan thing, or like what makes you curious about other people?
Well, I had an older brother. He just passed away, which also is with my grief. I lost my mother too. But my older brother was a very unique personality. He was a black man, and I'm gonna probably say he's deceased, but I think it's important that people know he was 11 years older than me, and he had different gifts. My father is a minister, and I related to him as Ezekiel in the Bible, and Ezekiel was able to see visions. So what I'm going to say is my brother could see visions, and he heard voices, and people did not understand that. And at 7, my brother was uncomfortable with his life because he was also gay in Detroit. And at 7, I was 7, he was 17, graduating from high school, and he wanted to commit suicide. And I was walking upstairs, and he was cutting out the screen, and he was hanging out of the window, and I'm 7 years old. Now I look up at him, I say, you know, Alaric, if you jump, I don't think you're gonna kill yourself. If anything, you're just gonna break your neck and hurt really bad. And I don't think that's a good idea. And he looked at me, he's like, yeah, you might be right. And then I walk right downstairs and I walk down to my mom and I say, you're really gonna have to go talk to Alaric. I think he needs a hug right now. Something's bothering him.
You remember this too.
Yeah.
I have some moments in my childhood like this, and so now I know who you are, because I think when you see people hurting at a young age and you intuitively kind of step in, because did you have a conversation that he was trying to commit suicide, or you just felt it? You felt it.
I just happened to walk upstairs while he was.
And you prevented that. So this mystery of why people are unwell and how to get them well is, I think, maybe central between us. Like to see it and go, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
You know, what can I do? Or to just be a part of that path of you know, I see the world needs healing. And
for me, that's true. And for me, I know that we all have our challenges. Like myself, I have these physical challenges, but the physical challenges is disease in the mind that creates disease in the body. Mm-hmm. And so I've been dealing with depression because of like grief and different things, and that's caused me not to be able to walk. Mm-hmm. And just collapse sometimes because of an emotional loss, losing my mom unexpectedly, losing my brother, and so I just know people are suffering. And I've always been a loving, happy, jolly person, but I know that sometimes that's a facade, and I just want people to know I'm there for them. Yeah. And I can relate.
Yeah, definitely. So let's kind of jump up to, how did you end up in LA? How did you come from Detroit to here?
Well, being an artist, doing stand-up comedy. Yeah. I started when I was 13, clowning around. I could do every character from In Living Color. You want to see one of my favorite ones?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, this is for you guys. Let me tell you something, Sonny. This here is very, very dangerous.
That's amazing.
That's my little fire marshal bill.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, that's just one of them. Yeah. And so I got a scholarship to CALARTS, full ride, and I was very happy to do that. And so that was my ticket to LA and to pursue acting. But then I decided I want to do something more. Mm-hmm. So I see myself as a social justice artist and a social justice activist with using art. And I love doing plays. I love writing. I'm interested in creating children's content right now. That's a goal of mine. And using compassionate arts with my business partner, Kira Corser. We started Compassionate Arts together. So we're writing, and we have a team that wants to produce. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm finally finding that purpose. Like I said, finding that purpose that's healing, that teaches. But I won't say children's content. Let me just, because it's me, I'm unique. It's family friendly, that's a current. Because let's talk about the real issues today. And it's accessible to everybody. So you want it to be more of a conversation that multi-generations can have. Intergenerational conversation, definitely. So the three themes that I feel that are in your life, and I'm going to ask you about each one of them separately. So compassion, arts, and nature. Okay. It's like these are three things that you can definitely talk about. So what is it about compassion? Like why that word? You could say love, you could have said empathy. Why is it compassion for you? Is there a definition that you really relate to in terms of compassion, or where you feel it's needed? Like however you want to answer that. So I personally relate to compassion. I say compassion is love in action. Compassion is love in action. That is how I relate to it. There's another definition where it's the willingness to help. You see something and you actually take the action. There's a willingness to help. But I move in that space of love because I actually use this to define it for youth or kids who don't know what compassion means. Honestly, there's a lot of people out here who don't know what compassion means. So I was like, well, if you see a dog that's hurt, and if you love your dog and the dog is wounded, and you just let it go and say, oh, that dog is wounded over there, that's like, I want to get it some water.
Yeah.
Now, the action to get it some water and take some Band-Aids is the compassion that's needed. To just observe it, it's like, oh, empathy will like, oh, my leg hurts. I know what it feels like to have a hurt leg.
Compassion is action.
The compassion is the action to get it the water and put the Band-Aid on it.
I imagine kids are having a hard time understanding what that is, because you look around, 99.9% of all content, all media, all news, entertainment is fear, and so we're not seeing examples of love and compassion, and yet we're hardwired for it.
And what is
so
fear?
We're like,
and what is fear?
Absence of love.
Exactly. And so if you have the absence of love, then you're definitely having the absence of the action of compassion.
Yeah, and I don't think people know, and this is why we talk about exceptional human encounters, and that's why I do the show. I don't think we know enough that we have it in us to make those actions, that we can shift things. Even if it's a small shift, you can shift things into this action area.
Just looking into someone's eyes.
Yeah. Definitely.
When you look at, when you go out into the community, LA has a huge homeless population. And one of the things is they just want to be seen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nothing more than just being seen. And I'll make a point to just look them in the eyes and say, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I'm not stepping over them or ignoring them or acting like they're not there. And I'm working on a nonprofit, so I don't really have a lot of funds to throw out.
Yeah.
But I definitely say, excuse me, and they say, God bless you, sis. Yeah. Just looking into someone's eyes and making that connection. And again, that's relatable, and that's why I love your show. I was like, woo!
We need to be relatable, right? Well, so we talked about compassion. Okay, let's talk about arts. Like, what's the draw there, and like, why do you focus on that in the work with the youth and initiatives that you're leading?
Well, in the hospital, I was laying in the bed and I was noticing that.
How long were you in the hospital? You want to tell that story a little bit so we can have contents around?
Okay, so I actually was hospital twice. Yeah. In 2015, 2015, February 10th, I was hospitalized, which was exactly a year to date. My mom passed away in 2014. And so I thought I was having some symptomatic issues because my legs and things weren't happening in my stomach and everything was just not working well. Well, so I go to the hospital around that time. February 10th, left leg goes out. February 12th, right leg goes out. I fall. I've fallen and I can't get up. Seriously, my friend comes in. He's like, what's going on? And he carries me to the hospital. And I'm in the hospital. I'm in there for like a month. Seriously, I think this is 40 days, 40 nights moments for myself. But I'm watching the Black Lives have a conversation and talking at the police, and I'm looking at how the police is talking at Black Lives, and I'm thinking, no one's listening. How can I get them to listen? And this thought is that I wanted to have a youth summit, because people don't talk to youth the way they talk to adults. And I said, now if we have this youth summit, what are we going to do at this youth summit? What always works? What do we like to do? I like to play. Artists love to play. So I thought we could bring a lot of art, all the elements of the art, spoken word, visual components. And then I had a friend, Kira, who is the founder of the Post for Peace and Justice. She has these visual conversations on these 8 feet pillars. And so we were able to have 6 conversations about Black lives. We broke it down with law enforcement, and we talked about the education aspect, the prison to pipeline, but these pillars are beautiful. So we have lead artists like Adonia and Heather and Robin and they're all part of our team, and they created these posts. Sergio, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, they literally listened to each other. One of the posts was featured compassionate cops, and the cop says, "I feel alone." And so we have that image of a cop alone, and the youth got a chance to listen to the cop, and then the youth talk about, well, when you see me, what do you see? All voices need to be heard. I'm not a gangbanger. I'm not a rapper. And it was just beautiful. So these images are on the post and these conversations.
What's coming up for me when you're sharing this is, so creating art is, I think it's like the gateway to compassionate actions, right? So because when we're creating art, we're in a love space. It's and if you get to share art, then you get to be seen and heard and loved. And then I think it is a pathway to like, okay, now you can step out and take some compassionate actions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was called the Compassion in Action Youth Summit.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, art comes from a different place. It's not all cerebral. It comes from the heart place. So when you are touching in this space, you're all heart, and you're connecting in a heart space. And that's what we're bringing. We were bringing heart to the conversation. That was missing. And so I thank you for the Los Angeles Police Department, the Hollywood Division, for coming out and supporting us in 2015.
That's awesome. All right, so the last one in this series of, really learning about you, nature. Talk to me about nature. Like what's...
I have to say that I've always played with roly-polies. Made mud pies and put worms in the mud pies, and my babysitter was like, "Get that out of the house. I know you're not bringing all them bugs in the house." I love nature, and what happened was I kind of moved away from it as an adult. Excuse me. I just thought about like so many people. When I think about Earth, it brings me back to the cycle of life. When I go back to nature, I'm thinking about the dirt and how it's regenerative, and it gives me peace. And I think we need to really honor Mother Earth in that sense, the power of this regenerative soil, the sacred soil that we walk on. I mean, how many people are outside walking barefoot? When was the last time you went outside and walked barefoot?
Not down here.
People are scared to do that.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate.
On grass, yes. I mean, downtown sidewalk. Would you walk barefooted on the downtown sidewalk?
Would you call that nature?
It's the cement? No, I don't call that nature.
I don't call that. That's concrete jungle.
We're on the same page.
That's the concrete jungle. No,
that's not going to happen.
No.
No. But yes, barefoot outside. Oof, yeah.
When was the last time you did that?
You know what? I'm trying to think. It hasn't been, because I haven't been to the beach in a while. I haven't. It's been a while.
Do you have grass in your backyard?
No, I live down here. I live here, downtown.
Well, you need to get a plot of grass and put it on your patio so you can rub your feet.
I love plants. I mean, there's
so you can
plants
just rub
everywhere.
your feet in the grass.
I hear you. I think you're absolutely right. You need to have a connection to
plants. So plants, I mean, we're talking about just even getting like urban gardens, like putting plants in pots.
Yeah.
And just watching it grow. It reminds you of the seasons. It reminds you of like, that in the winter the leaves fall, but this too shall come back around and grow again. So, and then if we're looking at food deserts, I'm looking at everything to me, the environment has showed me so much. One seed can feed year after year. I mean, do you like greens?
Yeah, absolutely.
From Flint.
Yeah. When you said food desert, that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Flint. Let's get back to that. Let's put a pin in that for a minute, because so when we talked on the phone, you were talking about something that you're going to be working on to bring more Black communities into this environmental conversation. Talk to me about that. Why do you think that's important?
Because sustainability. I mean, as a people, it's hard for us to sustain our lives with pollution, the most polluted areas we know are the places where Black and brown people live and reside. So when Black and brown go green, we really will have a compassionate cure.
Do you think it's hard? So this is why I wanted to put a pen in Flint. Like what people here don't understand when I get on a rant about Flint, because I care about that community, and I've seen what's happened. I've seen how the entire shopping malls that had mom and pop stores and opportunities to buy good food gone, and then there's a super Walmart and everybody's buying Twinkies on the end caps, you know. So there's no food. There, you know, it's a food desert. It went from 100,000 medium income to about 19. You know, there's not enough policing, community efforts.
We don't need policing. Well, we need peace officers first of all.
True. So but on this issue of like environment, or when people are asking me, well, why aren't people in Flint protesting the water strike? And I said, you don't understand how impoverished they are. Like they're in a situation where I've got to pay one bill, the electric or the gas, or take this kid to the doctor or not. Like they don't have time to, like, sometimes activism is sort of a privilege.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, like to get out. So yeah, that the environment is the furthest thing from their thoughts because their immediate need is so
And if
hard.
you read like my proposal, so I'm proposing a strong campaign. I would say a campaign, but it's more so to create an awareness. And that was my purpose the second time. So I was hospitalized in 2015 and was concerned about Black lives and police. And then when I was hospitalized this time, because it turned out to be an autoimmune, that I eat very healthy, but something got into my system that's been attacking my spine, which causes me to be paralyzed from the waist down. I'm thinking, okay, if I'm affected, and I shop at Whole Foods for the most part and Trader Joe's, but yet, you know, there's times when I'm gonna eat a burger or, you know, just eat it at the most unhealthy places. I didn't realize I need to be more organic. I need to like talk to my community about how we can sustain our lives.
Yeah.
How we can we need to buy in the communities, look at more farmers markets.
Yeah. So when you're sharing this, what came up for me, it's like maybe it's not really just about eating organic. It's about being mindful to everything, because like for Whole Foods, for instance, is owned by Amazon. Amazon has killed small business and medium-sized business and family business. And so, you know, I would guess that if we knew more about everything that we're putting into us, we'd make different decisions. And some of that is manifesting as pain. Like, hey, I want you to check this out. I want you to make a different decision. I want you to get involved. You know, I think this is all, I've said this a bazillion times on this. This is the most advanced communication system we have, our body.
The human ecosystem is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And when we talk about that on a compassionate, why don't we support our friends that have businesses? I have friends that make jewelry. I say let's have some sustainable economic development here.
Interdependence.
Yeah. Interdependence. We celebrate Interdependence Day at Sacramento as well. Do you celebrate that as well?
I celebrate it in every opportunity that I have.
Yeah, you are definitely. So let's celebrate it every day, not just one day.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even, you know, I wish I have a mirror I can say hello to Tim behind the camera. Everything that happens, even to get you here today, is an interdependence. Like sometimes stuff doesn't work, you know, like we just have to rely, you know, maybe the power will go out in the building, maybe the air will go out, you know.
Hopefully that won't happen today because it's too hot for that.
Yeah, I know, it's too hot for that. But you know, just us, you know, Tim getting here on time, having to deal with traffic, all the equipment working, you know, you're in so many different types of interdependence at any given time. We should celebrate them all and really stop just demystifying what we see on social media all the time, which is this independence, like celebrating Kendall Jenner for being self-made. You're not self-made, my sweet girl, sweet girl. You're not self-made. No. You have a family behind you, you have people supporting you, people have told you what to do and make decisions. Like that is not helping anybody by saying, look at me, I'm so independent. Like, no. Celebrate the people in your life.
Celebrate the people in your life. And that just reminded me, like, and let go of generational curses.
Yeah.
I decided I gave up my car just recently.
Yeah, me too. I don't have a car.
Oh, we're so on the same.
Right? Yeah.
I was reading a book. Thank you.
Which is, by the way, if you don't know this, if you're from Michigan, your family had ties to the car
Yes.
industry. When you tell your Michigan family you don't have a car,
I just gave up my Ford.
They're like, what are you doing? That's like sacrilege.
Oh my goodness! What you mean? You okay?
Yeah, exactly. You doing okay? Is your business okay?
Is you on that Hollywood, that LA? Okay, she California. No, but yeah, I just gave up my car. Yeah. It feels so good.
It's so good.
I took a lift here. Normally I take the metro system, but I was running behind, so I had to take it. But I like being able to connect with people again. That's like how you see people's stories.
Yeah.
That's compassion. And then we're helping a business like the independent drivers here, you know, or give gas money to a friend and help them take care of their resources in their car, whatever.
Yeah.
But then we can lower the emissions just by you gave up your car, I gave up my car. That's less cars.
Yeah.
Now all we have to do is plant a tree.
Plant
a tree, and then we're really doing it because I just found out there's a great documentary. I want to give a shout out to a Backyard Forest. Paulina, she was giving me these great documentaries, and one of the documentaries is on Netflix right now. It's One Strange Rock.
Love it. I've talked about it several times.
And is that not a POC getting us
so
Will
good.
Smith?
Yeah.
How he's talking about that?
Yeah.
And so that's also, everyone knows that we really need to get into this conversation. It's not, in the environment, it's not just a white person's issue. Yeah. That's the first thing. Yeah. If you need clean air and water to drink, which we know, that's everybody's issue.
This series she's talking about is, I think, 6 or so episodes, and there's one specifically on the Amazon rainforest. So if you're wondering right now, well, why should we care that it's burning? Watch it. It's all connected. It's just like our organs and our body. Like everything on this planet is connected. The bees and what they're doing, you know, it's all connected. And when they're not working together, we have ailments, and our Earth will have them too. So I'll step down, but I'm telling you, that's
raise up the platform.
That's a great series to watch. It's beautifully done, you know.
It's relatable.
It's totally relatable. It's Will Smith, as she's already said, narrating, and it's pretty amazing.
And they have the astronauts that travel.
I love this part about it too. So they talk about the overview effect, which is, you know, astronauts typically are scientists. They're not known to be spiritual people. They're scientists, which that's great too, right? I like them both. I like the combination of spirituality and science.
Me too.
But there's a thing called the overview effect when an astronaut sees for the first time, looking down on the Earth, and how profoundly spiritual that moment is for them, and how it's life altering because they get it. They like see it as this living, breathing, beautiful like mystery.
This organism.
Yeah.
And they continue to talk about the Earth as an organism that can heal. They talk about how the ozone layer has actually been able to regenerate. And so right now we are in dire need for humans to do something different. And to take action, like again with the Amazon, but other things in our lives, like cut down on emissions that we're putting out, eat more organic, plant more organic, because you're actually putting more oxygen out into the planet. So by planting these plants, again, a Backyard Forest, one of our partners with Compassion Arts, she has created a permaculture in her backyard, and it's just a little plot.
Yeah.
It's not much. Tree.
Anybody can do it. I know one of the homeless shelters downtown has a rooftop garden. You know, that they're using the produce that they make to feed people in the kitchen. So it's anybody
doable,
can do it.
There's a solution to it.
It's not about space either. You can have a vertical garden that you can grow herbs and lettuce and vegetables up.
Create something right in that plot size. You know, so we could do it. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't go with the myth, the mystical aspect of like, how can we save the planet? Don't worry about saving the planet. We are a human ecosystem. Take the action here and let that be the catapult to the next step.
I'll tell you how we save the planet. We connect. We do this.
Yeah.
We step out of our comfort zone and have conversations and go, look, we're all in it. You're my sister. He's my brother. Like, we're in this together. And if we start treating each other and the homeless person on the street with that kind of compassion and lift everybody up, everybody up into action.
That homeless person is my brother.
Yeah, the homeless person is your brother. My brother too.
The homeless person is my sister. Your sister.
Yeah.
And when you see that, then compassion comes from that.
Yeah.
And let's include be more inclusive.
I agree.
So, and so when Black and Brown go green, it's not excluding anyone else from the conversation, it's including. So think about when we see these things where like, why is it gotta be Black and why is it gotta be brown? It's including, because oftentimes we're not included in spaces. So that's just a direct invitation that we're inviting. It's not to exclude my sister over here. See?
I get it. I know.
You get it.
Yeah.
But that's for the ones that don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, this is a time where, that sometimes I look at social media as value neutral. It's like, I don't want to say that it's negative. And, and I've met people. I mean, you and I were connected because I met the woman that runs the garden.
Yeah,
so
Michelle,
that was an organic.
Matthews.
Shout out to Michelle.
Michelle.
That was an organic connection. But for the most part, I meet people. I see somebody doing something online, and I connect and I ask them to come on. And so it's helped us see each other, and some of that see each other's has got us grouped in smaller gatherings and having a voice now in these groups and having some identity, rise up and say, hey, these things over here don't include us, so we're going to group over here. So it's good.
The cops do that. Everybody,
yeah. It's good to have small groups, even if it was exclusive. I think sometimes that needs to happen, and then we come back and all group together in an inclusive way. Yes,
we're creating
safe exclusive spaces, and then work together to kind of figure out how do we come together in inclusion.
Well, that's actually when I went to the Human Rights Network. They created a safe space for POCs to talk about climate, and that's when I really got it. It was in Atlanta.
If you're listening and you're like, if you're a white person listening, you're like, you don't know what POC, person of color, just put, now, it's fine. I'm just gonna put that out there.
So then and they just shared that we're all indigenous to the land, and they're talking about food deserts. They talked about corporations dumping, and you can look at the map and see clearly on a map why some areas are more polluted, or why areas are polluted with marginalized communities, and how that's affecting. You can see more disease, diabetes, cancer, just different mental illness, and how all these are tied in. And so if you look at the ecosystem and look at the environments that we live in, the more nutrition, the more emphasis you place on the sacred soil, then we could definitely heal the planet, and we can heal ourselves in the process. And wouldn't that be a beautiful thing?
Definitely. I'd like to be around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I'd like to see people live a little bit longer. And
I would just want to say one more thing. They say that they're saying that if we don't take action within the next 5 years, it's irreversible.
Yeah.
Mother Earth was like, I've given you generations and generations and generations, and I promise to be here for your grandchildren, your grandchildren's grandchildren. We need to take action so that Mother Earth can keep that promise.
I agree. Absolutely. Tim's shaking his head over there. All the energy in this room is like, yes.
He's like, amen, sister. I told you my dad was a minister. Don't give me.
We do not doubt that at all. Okay, so tell me what else you're working on. I know there's a conference coming up, Visionary Summit. What do you got?
The Visionary Summit is, I'm so excited. We're going to be hosting that up in Sacramento at the Doubletree, September 19th to September 22nd. We're bringing in visionaries from all around the United States, and we're going to have keynote speaker Gavin Newsom's going to be there, Governor Gavin Newsom, Marianne Williamson, I myself, and Kira Corser and Joan Marie. We're creating a visionary hub where we'll use the art to facilitate conversations and bring in civic engagement. We're talking with luminaries, and we're talking about disruption. Let's disrupt this thing. Let's disturb what's happening now for the greater good. So we're looking at creating a vision that works for a place that works for everybody, not just some. So if you can envision a place that works for everyone, you should really come out there and connect with other visionaries.
So if you've got ideas, and like you'll get to sit and kind of brainstorm and work with people and hear other people talk about stuff. Is that
we're definitely gonna have more breakouts so that it's not just talking heads, people talking at you. You can hear great ideas that's already been implemented, and you can connect. It's a space where it's more about connection because we've
What
gone
did I
to
say
these.
earlier? That's what I know it's needed. Why am I doing
Why
that?
aren't you there?
I guess I got to put this on my calendar.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
like,
yeah, Visionary Summit.
Yeah.
September.
So you're going to share a link that I can share out with
Yes,
everybody?
yes,
Okay, perfect. So
yes.
we'll share all the information for that when we archive the show so people can sign up and participate and go see. I was just in Sacramento for the first time not too long ago. It's beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah,
Doesn't it
it's
have like
beautiful.
a East Coast
It
feeling?
kind of, I thought I
Yeah.
was thinking Michigan.
Yeah,
You know,
me too.
beautiful green trees, green everywhere. Yeah, I was feeling it.
Do you make it out to Pasadena?
It's a little bit. I have friends in Pasadena. Not regularly do I go, but it's close by.
Next time.
Pasadena is beautiful.
Well,
too.
because the garden, the
Yeah,
Arlington
yeah.
Garden.
Yeah, I got to go to the garden.
The garden
I definitely have to go to the garden.
It's amazing, and we need to save spaces like the Arlington Garden. You know, more community gardens. How are these places funded?
Yeah.
We need to keep funding places and supporting places like this because, you know, where do we get these resources? And the garden has pomegranates that you can pluck. You can have pomegranates and oranges there, and those. It's more of a succulent garden. It's a sustainable garden. It's the plants are native. And then they started a community compost. I've signed up.
Yeah.
And let's talk about composting.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. It's like what you eat, you feed back into the earth.
You compost at home or at the garden? Yeah.
I compost at home, and now moving some of the compost to the garden. We're actually looking at businesses too. We had a series of conversations in July. That's how we started talking.
Yeah.
And one of the businesses was a coffee shop, and they said they want to start composting. Where are they going to put us? They had like 60 pounds of grains left over, and they wanted to figure out what they can do with that. So we said compost, take it to the garden.
Coffee's good for compost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the garden, and we'll share that link as well. Something I think you shared in your conversation, and Michelle talked about too, about how people just go to walk. You know, so think about this: like the next time you are wanting to catch up with someone, go walk a garden and have a conversation. If it's going to be a difficult conversation, you know, a little help from nature might help that conversation go a little bit easier. You know, think about that, like being surrounded by nature, having kind of a difficult conversation.
And I was, my name is Faye Love, so I have some dating tips as well.
Oh my gosh, she's full of them. I can't even tell you what she was telling me before the show.
A great dating tip is a picnic in the garden at sunset. And it's economical.
Yeah.
It's definitely. Or in the morning.
Yeah.
I tell her in the morning, just go for a morning walk and wake up in the garden on a date. And if everything goes well, your date is thinking about you all day long. That's the love. That's the love. That's the love right there.
I love it. See, dating, like with Fee Loves 101 on dating. You got that extra bonus. You didn't think that was coming for you, but it came for you, and it was for you.
And if you had the bonus, please respond in the comments about the bonus tip about dating. Yeah. If you were listening.
Yeah. Shout out for that.
Another thing is Compassionate California. What we're doing with that is just overall wanting to create a compassionate state. And so we're looking at more compassionate cities. We have Compassionate Pomona that's very active. If you want to know about the compassionate movement, Sacramento.
What would you say the first two major initiatives are that need to be able to say your state is compassionate? I'm thinking of two. I want to hear what yours are.
Well, I'm gonna just go with my city right now because I'm representing Compassionate Pasadena, and so definitely more cities to sign this legislation to become a compassionate state. But overall, I think we need to look at the homeless population.
Yeah, I would say that's one.
And then definitely safety and justice.
Safety. I'd say close second to that would be our jailing system.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah. Including that inclusive, like, I mean, there's so much. I almost you took the words right out of my mouth. But definitely overpopulating, school to prison pipeline. Why are you making millions of enslaving other beings? And then once they're free, they're not really free.
No.
Because then they're still serving the time because they can't get a job. They have this record.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Yeah. Well, the point is money. Unfortunately,
And
we can't end there. We gotta go somewhere else. But yeah, the point is.
Yeah, let's just do something.
I have some people I'll connect you to too that I think are doing good work in that area. Because again, sometimes I think my role on this earth right now is just to connect, is just to bring more power to these groups that are doing good work and just get them to all rise up together. And I keep seeing that. So I don't know what it is, but I have some friends that I want to connect you with.
I would love to be connected, and I love the city of Pasadena. If you want to just come out to Pasadena and see what compassion looks like, I was in the car the other day with a Lyft driver, and he was like, this place seems really different, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I think because there are a lot of medical institutions, and we're talking about science, JPL is out there, and the way we move and connect with each other, we are always visioning something better. We're looking at health.
Kaiser plays a role in that? Doesn't Kaiser have a big location out there?
They do have a location, and USC.
Yeah.
USC has one there, out there. So, and Kaiser is definitely into the holistic aspect. They support holistic, acupuncture and the gym memberships. So preventative medicine. So stay in fitness. So I think there's something about the city and organizations like Side Street Projects that are going into the schools, teaching you sustainability with the wood making tools and teaching youth about sustainability from a very practical level.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you'll love the next question, and you probably can think of some examples connected to Pasadena. So every guest that comes on and sits here on the Relatable Couch gets this question. The question is, what does the term exceptional human encounter mean to you? Like, what does that mean? There's no right or wrong answer, obviously. It's your definition.
Why didn't I do my, okay, let me think about this.
If it's easier to answer it with an example, because if you're just reflecting on Pasadena and having these great experiences there, and the Uber drivers.
There's so many. That's why you don't know. That's my life.
Yeah.
I look for exceptional human encounters. So
I think you probably create them too.
Thank you. Thank you. I think when I was in the wheelchair, it was just how the willingness. There's a space in Pasadena. It became my Sunday Funday, and I literally just needed to go there and listen to reggae, and the band for my birthday, they created a whole playlist with just music about standing up and for your rights, and everybody there, strangers, came about. They helped me out. They didn't even know me, and they just they helped from rolling across the street. I had someone nearby, but they saw me in a wheelchair trying to help me get through the venue. I was in a wheelchair on my birthday, so that was a really unique situation. I think just when you see someone in need, the community there really rise to the occasion. And I would have to be thankful for the nurses too. When I was in the hospital, we had turn it up. Like I said, I couldn't walk, and I'm with my walker trying to dance, and the nurses is like, yeah, it's your birthday. It was just really amazing to see how their need to make me happy lifted their spirits. So it was exceptional to see how much effort folks put in to make someone else happy. So in making someone else happy, or I won't even say making someone happy, helping someone feel better about themselves, they felt better. I could see the light.
No, it's a total gift.
I could see the light.
I know it feels vulnerable sometimes, to get in an elevator and someone's head down in the phone and you're like, hey, trying to get them to smile or whatever. But it's a gift when it's received together and both parties or all energies get lifted up together. So that the contagious. I think of vulnerability in the same way I think about being naked. It's like you're only vulnerable for a little bit, and it's like you can't get more naked. It's like whatever, it's there.
Yeah.
And then you get over it. So the risk of stepping out of your comfort zone to make someone's day, or to share something, or tell a silly joke just to get someone to smile, the risk far is so much smaller than the actual benefits of doing that. It
supersedes the reward.
Yeah, totally.
The reward supersedes the risk. I wanted to thank you for mentioning that I'm a compassionate warrior, because I always say, I don't worry, I'm a warrior.
Yeah.
Worrying does not do anything for you. You got to just stand up and fight for your rights, you know? So no worrying here, just be a warrior.
Yeah.
A warrior.
Well, it's like, look, worrying and everybody gets depressed. I don't, if you have a friend that says they don't get depressed, you put your arms around them and hold them until they share something, because everybody does, and that's real. And I think all emotions have validation. You know, I have a hard time letting anger out, and but my anger is valid, you know, but let it out and then lean into this, lean into whatever it is, compassion, love, because it's not realistic to be that all the time, right? I just want that to be clear, because I think there's a lot of bad stigma around mental health. You can't be that all the time, but when you lean to it more, it's a lot easier for you to feel it most of the time.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm leaning to you right now.
Okay, lean in.
I suppressed.
Take a nap.
So I suppressed my anger so much. That was the inflammation that inflamed my spine.
I believe that.
So when you say lean into it, I lean into it now.
Mm-hmm.
I let people know how I feel.
Yeah.
I know it's dramatic, but I'm like,
no,
I'm an Aries. I should never ever suppress my anger.
Yeah.
I'm a fire sign.
Yeah.
So basically, I let it out through walking or through boxing.
I don't know if I should share this on camera or off. I think I should just share it on camera. I just revealed something in my life that I didn't feel like I felt like I had healed around it, and it's deeper, this wound, than what I initially thought. And there's a lot of anger there, a lot of anger. And so my first response, first was, okay, what kind of therapy can I do? Because should be no stigma around going and sitting with therapists. It should be as natural as going to the gym and working with your trainer. We all need it, okay? There's no weakness in that. I just want to say that. And I'm not justifying it for myself, because I love therapy. I love it. It's changed my life, I
love my therapist too.
But I'm feeling the need to beat the crap out of something. And I reached out to a pro boxer, Carrie. She's going to be on the show, I'm sure, at some point. We're talking this week. And I'm going to box.
Do it.
I'm gonna box.
I could have came with my boxing gloves.
Yeah, and it's so weird. So you're saying it. I watched this stand-up comic special last night, and the woman starts her special. And she's boxing. I'm like, okay, all my girls are telling me. I already knew, but I'm just getting all of this information where it's like I'm gonna be boxing soon.
And I gotta say this, my friend Kira, co-partner, she's like, I don't know, boxing seems so violent. I said, I'd rather be in the boxing ring than on the streets, okay?
Exactly.
So yeah, boxing works.
Cursing. Yes. So I think anybody, I curse a lot.
They said smart people curse.
I know, I read that article and subscribe to that knowledge, but yeah, you've gotta let it out. The whole thing is, we're seeing, I don't wanna get into this, but there's something wrong with our country when we see these shooters that are happening. There's something wrong. Something's happening to create that behavioral type. And I think part of that equation in every case, and I look at these things, is isolation. They've gotten isolated, and they're not talking to someone, and they're not checking in, and they're suppressing stuff that's there. And a lot of those things could have been taken care of if someone was in communication with someone and letting go, and find a healthy way to let it go.
And this might not be the most PC thing to say, but I'm from Detroit.
Yeah.
I think you got to let them fight it out a little bit. The kids at an early age,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, I know it's not the most PC thing to say, but a little fight here and there, it's okay. Then you teach them conflict resolution, but they got to get this aggression out. I mean, we're primal, we're animals, And I know they're like, you're telling people to fight. Well, yeah, I am, but under supervised, like Fight Club.
It's Fight Club.
And then if you get them in the ring, like a lot of times they'll say former gang members or people that was on the street, what saved their life was boxing.
Mm-hmm.
So a compassionate warrior is telling you that boxing is okay.
Yeah.
And you got to fight for your right too. So,
well, and there's something about living in a culture that you don't feel like you can do anything about some of the things that you witness in the news and things, and so you start to feel like you're not strong. And I think the experience, and I'm speaking for myself right now, like I'm going after the experience of having myself feel strong.
You nailed it.
So I know that I can go and do other stuff with that strength. Like that's what's important about it.
The weight of the world wore me down, suppressed me, and put me in the hospital twice. And so being able to express myself authentically, transparently, and with a little bit of fight works. And compassion and heart as well.
All right, we're almost at time, so we get to do one more thing together before we leave today.
Just one more thing.
I know, just one more thing. Like that's all the time. We'll have to come back. She's gonna have to come back and do dating stuff. So I'd like to issue a social challenge of the week, and it's just something where people can do on their own, or sometimes do with a buddy. The purpose is just to have a relationship with learning. I think all the things that we're talking about, what trumps them all in some ways is if you accept nature and growth as a natural order of things, you're going to have a better relationship with this world. And so there's a lot to learn. A lot to learn about yourself, a lot to learn about each other, a lot to learn about what's going on. So if you just try something every day to stay in that relationship with learning, it's good. It lifts us all up. So what I wrote down was I really am leaned into acknowledging other people's healing journey. And knowing, so we all have friends. I think immediately of my sober friends because they teach me a lot of stuff. Like they stay in program. They, constantly. One of my friends, I'm just gonna shout her out. Well, I'm going to keep it to myself. She knows who she is. She knows who she is.
You know who you are.
Yeah, she knows who she is. But she will check me on things like nobody else can because she stays in relationship with learning and healing and herself.
Right.
And so I think it would be great to kind of think about people that you know that have been on some sort of healing journey and just thank them.
Okay.
Just thank them. That's the social activity for the week. The social challenges is like who's been on a journey of healing and say, you know what? I appreciate your journey. I thank you for challenging yourself to stay on it. I see you. I see how you're showing up. I love you. Thank you.
All right.
You want to add to that? Like, how would you?
I would love to add to that, and I'm actually had some people in mind that I want to thank. I see a good friend of mine, Laura O'Connor, who's doing a lot of work in transparency and learning how to show up in the world in a very compassionate way. My real mentor in this space is Marisa. She's on the spectrum of learning, and it's challenging for her, and she keeps showing up and just showing me what compassion really looks like. She's actually the best teacher. I'm supposed to be mentoring her, but I think we mentor each other.
That's the best relationship.
And so she's showing me love, and so if you take that step of acknowledging them and then continue to tell them exactly what it is that you see. So the fact that you just keep showing up, expressing yourself, and knowing how amazing you are is what I really appreciate. And I want to keep reminding you that you are lovable and that your compassion teaches others to be compassionate.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. So that's the social challenge of the week, thanking people for their healing. Even if someone's just taking a yoga class, they're on some sort of healing journey. So just thank them for it. Thank them for working, to heal and if they're like you and they're doing things in their community.
Meditation,
any kind of therapy, even if they're just talking something out with you. You know what? Thank you,
Tara, to be able to talk it out with me.
See, that list is going to get long. I'm telling you. You start to think about
honesty, showing up in a very honest way.
Yeah.
Communication.
Definitely. All right. Well, that brings us to another end of the show. Thank you so much for being here. This was really awesome. I'm glad that we got to meet in person. I think we'll have to do the dating conversation another time. That's going to be awesome. And as always, I just want people to think about, you can change how you're relating in the world. You really can. This is the one thing that most of us have in control. And if you think about how you're showing up, there's this question that I ask everybody that I want you to think about is, what are you doing to create an exceptional encounter today? Think about that. See you next week.
Lovely.